I tell you a story not long ago. High on a mountain in Idaho. In Idaho, I was living free. Sold a sawed-off shotgun to a deputy. Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down. Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down. They shot my good dog. They shot my boy. My only son, my pride and joy. They shot my wife, dead on the floor, holding her baby in the cabin door. Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down. Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me
Don't
down.
shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down. If you get an ocean, you wanna go high on a mountain in Idaho. In Idaho, you'll be living free. Don't sell no shotgun to no deputy. Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down. Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Don't shoot me down.
Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down. Got a wife and kids on Ruby Ridge. Please don't shoot me down.
Welcome, chat. Hi. It's Thursday night show. Welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Once again, my name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal, and I am a attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And tonight, got a lot to talk about, but yeah, Ruby Ridge started today. Many moons ago, and 1992. Hold on one second. Um, 1992. 7 years old. I was 7 years old when they did this. If you guys don't know, that's a song, Don't Shoot Me Down. Many people have covered over the years, written by a guy named Cody Canada. I couldn't find a really good version of him that I thought would work well. I really like that one just because all the strings in it. I thought it's very well done. I know you guys don't like it, but we were promised the Vicki Chat Green Again shirt. Which doesn't really, a little tight. So it's not an OnlyFans show. But getting on to Ruby Ridge, 23 years ago. And it's very sobering what happened there. If you guys don't know anything about Ruby Ridge, I know we're kind of starting off with the serious stuff here, but we got to tonight. Sorry, guys. Anyways, we'll start start off with what happened at Ruby Ridge. Well, Ruby Ridge was a place in Boundary County, Idaho. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, we are talking about like way in the north of Canada. Or I mean, the way north of Idaho. As the name implies, it's on the boundary. It's up there. And if you guys if you guys don't know where we're talking about, it's here's Idaho. Zooming out. And we're talking about all the way in the north. We're talking about all the way in the north of Idaho. All the way up into Idaho. I mean, you're talking like, if you guys know where like Bonner's Ferry is and some of these other places. I mean, this is where we were. This is where it all happened. Boundary County, Idaho. And if you don't know the story about Randy Weaver, Randy Weaver was a Green Beret in the Army, retired, and was a white separatist. Didn't want to be around anybody but white folk, wanted to go do his thing out in the woods. Well, Randy had befriended different people and knew of people in certain white supremacist groups and movements. And from there, actually, hold on here. What do we have? Yes, Hunch for $10. Thank you. Yes, Randy. They're not going to let you do it. I'm sorry here. Randy Weaver did nothing wrong. Was unjustly made the person of interest by a tyrannical federal government. May the sacrifice of his family never be forgotten. True, and we're going to get to what happens here. But thank you, Hunch. So Randy Weaver, and here's a picture of the Weaver family. Here's Randy, here's Vicki, here's Sammy, and then Randy had, at the time, 2 daughters, and then eventually Randy and Vicki had another baby. So Randy Weaver was approached by some federal agents and said, hey, will you help us talk to these guys? And we want to basically entrap these white supremacist gang members. Randy Weaver didn't want to be part of it. He didn't want to be part of it at all. He's like, no, it's not my job. It's not my job at all. So what happened from there? Well, no, I forgot. Randy Weaver also he joined the Army during Vietnam. So now, what happened? Well, an ATF agent, an undercover agent, talked to Randy Weaver. And Randy Weaver agreed to sell this guy 2 sawed-off shotguns. Now, how were they sawed off? From what we can tell, probably not. What we can actually tell happened is the ATF agent and their informants were the ones who actually cut the barrels down, because Randy kept them at 18 inches. And they're the ones who chopped it down 1/4 of an inch short. That's what happened, because Randy Weaver got acquitted of all that. So they tried to charge Randy Weaver with this, and they said, look, you violated the NFA. You have an option. Cooperate with us and wear wire and infiltrate these gangs, or we'll prosecute you. Randy Weaver said, I ain't doing that. Nope. So the U.S. Marshal Service and the feds started fucking around with Randy Weaver's case. They made sure dates were met, dates were changed. His public defender got jerked around. All kinds of stuff happened. And Randy Weaver began to distrust the system because bullshit was happening in his case. And he refused to come in. And he stayed out for quite a while. And then eventually the Marshal Service sent out a reconnaissance team, because they were going to nab him. And they were creeping around on Randy Weaver's property in Idaho. And at that time, Randy Weaver's son, Sammy Weaver, right there at the bottom, was out with their family friend, Kevin Harris, and they were out hunting. And Sammy Weaver had a Ruger Mini 14. Sammy was out front with his dog. And his dog found the Marshals team hiding, doing surveillance. And the Marshals killed his dog. And if you're running a covert team, that's what you got to do. But why were they there? So Sammy, as Kevin Harris tells the story, screamed, "You kill my dogs, you son of a bitch." And he picked up his Mini 14 and started fucking banging it out because he didn't know who these guys were. It was a dude in camouflage with a suppressed weapon. So this fucking 14-year-old kid starts hammering it out with what it turns out to be a U.S. Marshals surveillance team. And fucking goes to town. They kill him in returning fire. Kevin Harris returns fire and kills a marshal. And that's what kicks it all off. That's what kicks it all off. From there, the FBI gets involved. And very famously, the FBI hostage rescue team, the HRT, gets involved as a high-risk operation. And most famously, the FBI hostage rescue sniper team is brought in, including one guy known as Lon Horiuchi. So, what happens from there? Well, they siege Ruby Ridge. From there, Randy Weaver, Vicki, and Kevin Harris, they all bunker down. Did chat freeze? I think so. Or I'm being very boring. It's hard to tell. And then eventually, fuck Lon Horiuchi, yes. As things progress, the FBI escalates. And they develop a rules of engagement that include shoot any adult, regardless of whether or not they're armed. Any adult you find is a target. You heard that right. The FBI said if they're an adult, regardless of whether or not they have a weapon, you can kill them and engage them. This ROE was so insane. The Denver police SWAT team had actually come up to Ruby Ridge to assist the FBI for manpower. And they packed up their shit and left and said, we ain't doing this. So the FBI stayed. The HRT team stayed. And eventually, Vicki Weaver was murdered. Kevin Harris was shot. And while the shooting was going down, Vicki Weaver is running with their daughter, their baby daughter. And the hostage rescue team shot through a door, the door to the cabin, and shot Vicki Weaver in the fucking head while she held her baby. And killed her. The FBI negotiators, they claim they didn't know this, but they were saying, Vicki, we're having pancakes the next morning. Don't you come on and join us for some nice hot pancakes, you and your kids? As she lay there with her brains all over the fucking floor in front of her children. And eventually, Randy Weaver and the gang surrendered. Randy Weaver was charged with all kinds of shit. So was Kevin Harris. Jerry Spence defended Randy Weaver. And Randy Weaver got acquitted of everything except for failing to appear in court. Randy Weaver fucking won. Randy Weaver won. But remember, they tried it in Idaho. Randy Weaver won. Kevin Harris got acquitted also. Kevin Harris got acquitted of murdering a marshal. Remember, guys, he shot a marshal in the face and fucking killed him. And he walked. The U.S. government actually ended up, without admitting wrongdoing, settled with Kevin Harris and his family and the Weavers for a couple $1 million, roughly. Think about it. Murder a U.S. Marshal and you get a couple $100,000 out of it. So what happened from there? Well, not much. Lon Horiuchi was indicted in Boundary County, Idaho by the grand jury there, but the feds removed it. The federal court and dismiss the case. There's Vicki with Sammy and her daughters. If you guys have never seen a picture of their house, here is their house up on Ruby Ridge. This is an FBI surveillance team photo of Vicki out before they changed their ROE to kill everyone you could find. And Randy Weaver, for the longest time, got to go in front of Congress and testify, but he never stopped seeking justice for his daughter, his daughters, but most importantly, Sammy and Vicki. He never stopped trying to get justice for them. And Randy Weaver died recently, and yeah, never got that justice. Lon Horiuchi is still out there, and nobody was ever held accountable for the murder of his son or his wife. Yeah, he's been gone about 3 years now. Yep. So, yeah, that is the story of Ruby Ridge, kind of in a nutshell. I know it's not the best story. I didn't do the best job at telling it, but that's what happened out there, chat. Yeah, and Jerry Spence just died. Yep, Jerry Spence just died. Trying so hard not to Fed post right now. Don't worry. Because Ruby Ridge led to Waco, and Waco led to Oklahoma fucking City. Yeah, Lon Horiuchi and the hostage rescue team had involvement in Waco as well. The FBI snipers showed up a lot of places. And Lon Horiuchi, he's probably going to escape man's justice. That's the sad part. But the good thing is he will not escape God's justice. It's a shame he won't face man's justice, but, we can't. We could only do so much out there, chat. Did the daughters and baby survive? Yes, they survived. They're still alive. They're out there right now. They are alive. Surprisingly, the government didn't fucking kill them. So yes, 07's in the chat for the Weaver family. Randy for fighting for his family, and Sammy Weaver for when the time came, he saw a threat and he tried to take care of business as a child. So yeah. Yeah, the eldest daughter has talked about it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I've seen some interviews. They're rough. Yep, they shot his dog. There's Elohim City. There's PatCon. There's all kinds of stuff tied to that. Hold on one second. Now, chat, I know what you're thinking. Wait, 2.0 is a Fed, so she's probably telling me, don't Fed post, don't talk about my friends like this. No, that's not what she just talked about. We're talking about something else in a second. You don't hate the government enough. That is correct. You can't hate the government enough. And remember, chat, if whatever you may do, there is never such a thing as too high of a score. The high score is for all of us to strive for. Just saying. Sean is Feds telling him he's breaking the conditioning. Yes, we're breaking the conditioning, chat.
We know we're under attack. We know it. We're breaking the conditioning. We're coming for you, globalist. Coming for you. We know what you're doing.
Yes, we do. Janet Reno is a tranny. That's why everything was so violent at her. Yes. And remember, chat, Ruby Ridge happened under George H.W. Bush. Ruby Ridge was under Republican DOJ. So, yeah. Stacy says, if you got to go out, go big. Well, who says you got to go out? Who says you got to go out to go big? I mean, that's just a matter of, I think that's just a matter of planning. I mean, if you want to plan it well enough, you could go big and stay in the game. I mean, that is really just a lack of imagination when it comes down to it. If you want to go big, you can go big. You can sit there and do the Indian method where you fucking pound the stake in the ground and tie yourself to it so you can't leave, and you face him down, you pull your fucking Jon Snow move, and you just get ready, you bear down. Cool. Or you can go big and then kind of like, like smoke in the wind for another day. It's all what you want to do. It's all what you want to do. So, yeah, nothing wrong with going big, and there's nothing wrong with a high score. There's nothing wrong with a high score, chat. Just something to think about. There's nothing wrong with a high score. So, let me see here. What else are you guys saying here? All right. So that was a little bit of a depressing start, but hey, we had to do it. So, guys, anyways, we are live tonight. We are live tonight on Kick. We're trying out Kick tonight. I know a lot of you guys like Rumble, but a bunch, like, people asked this week, like, can we go back to Kick? And I'm like, all right, we'll try Kick. So there we go. We're on Kick tonight. Guys, go on there and say all the gamer words and do whatever it is. Let's get, let's where is the hold on here. Just let me know what you guys are doing. You guys can do all kinds of stuff over there. Remember, it's Kick, so you're kind of, you don't have to worry about too much. Let's see here. All right. Anyways, guys, we are live tonight on YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. And then also chat, last but not least, locals. I couldn't get the locals chat, would not work tonight. I tried setting it up, and it kept on just not working. I don't know. But guys, anyways, join us over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. If you guys want to join, remember, it's free, just like Patreon. It costs you nothing to join the community. If you wish to support, it's $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, get 2 months free. With that $3 a month of support, you get, it makes me feel good, so it's always helpful. You also get access to live shows. We do 2 live shows a week. Monday nights starting at 9, and then Thursday nights right after this, we go and hang out. Last week, I know you guys be like, what about last week? Well, last week wasn't feeling good. We're good to go tonight, chat. We are going to go and go and go and go. So that's going to be the game plan. All potentiallycriminal.locals.com. If you're not sure if you want to join or not, use the promo code SUMMERTIME2025. Roland Arthur is saying you can't find you there. I'm under potentially criminal, so you should be able to find me there. Just keep looking. You'll find keep looking around on the live page on Kick, and you'll see the fat guy. It's like, that's not PPP. That's me. So that is the game plan for here, chat. Yes, unlimited end towers only on Kick. Oh. All right, guys. Now, breaking news. This did come in from 2.0, and I don't know where she found this, but it is very interesting. If you guys remember Lyle and Eric Menendez, remember the Menendez brothers are seeking release from prison. Remember, they just got ahead and got a new hearing in front of their judge to get the hold on. So remember, they were seeking a reclassification as youthful offenders under California law, which allows them to be released earlier and allows them to be eligible for parole. Well, there is an update here. The Menendez brothers had their parole hearings recently. Eric was denied parole just literally minutes ago. He got denied. The Menendez, Eric Menendez got recated. So Eric's parole hearing was scheduled for today. Lyle's is set for Friday. Now here's the deal: if one didn't get out, I don't think Lyle's getting out. So I think that's important here to have this. So, but remember, they had the court allowed them to have the opportunity to be subject to parole now. They were sentenced to 50 years to life, which allows them to have that chance. Remember, Gavin Newsom is claiming that he may do a grant of parole or clemency on his own. We don't really know what's going to happen there, but yes, Eric Menendez denied parole. If you're hoping for it, sorry. But yeah, Lyle's not getting out either. So that would be interesting if one got out and the other didn't. That would be a very weird outcome, but that would be funny and that'd be very weird. So Eric's hearing was apparently over 7 hours. I heard that as well. Yes, apparently it was a very long and in-depth hearing, which that's a very long one. And if you guys know, there's a channel here on YouTube, Mandu, and he covers parole hearings out of like Louisiana and Connecticut. And notice they're not, and if you guys watch them, they're not very long. But here, 7 hours, that is a long parole hearing. That is a long parole hearing. And Afton, hello, hope you're doing well. All right, let's catch up on some things real quick. Zakuza is saying this is filth. I'm sorry. Well, I like the song. Patricia Bradshaw, member for 37 months. Thank you for being here. 37 freaking months. Holy shit. It's a long time. You've been around for many moons. Many moons. Says freedom at any cost. From Randy Weaver, yes. Then hunch dirty roofer for $10. I agree. Randy Weaver was subjected to unspeakable evil by a tyrannical government and was never given any peace. EDW Raptor for $2 says rest in peace, Striker. Yep. Sammy Weaver's doggo. He was a good boy. Yes, he was. He did his job. There were intruders on the property, and he borked and notified his boss, Sammy, there was something afoot. Swamp Dog Clyde for $2 says rest in peace to my brother Striker. Hashtag justice for Striker. Well, don't you worry. Sammy Weaver and Kevin Harris got fucking justice for that dog. He made those cocksuckers pay. T-Rex Travels for $4.99. Says Lon Horiuchi was at Waco and Ruby Ridge. Monster of a government agent, just evil. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Stephen Cooper says, should have tried to get Judge Nindy Campbell out of New Orleans. Funny. Oh. Yes, the Ricada treatment. Yes, denied. What was Sammy's score? I don't know. I think Sammy may have wounded one of the marshals, but Kevin Harris is the one who's credited with murdering, not murdering, but shooting Marshal Deegan in the face and putting him the fuck down. Sammy was not. Sammy, I think, only wounded one or two of them, and they were lightly wounded. Because Sammy was using a fucking Mini 14. That's why you don't use one of those, chat. But I get it. It's 1992. That was like the bee's knees. So imagine if he had like an AR, he would have just been fucking cracking shots off. But Kevin Harris is the one who scored the kill shot on the Marshall team. So, yes, 07's for Striker, yes. Didn't the daughters get millions? They got a couple 100,000 each, ultimately. They didn't get tons, but they got a lot. They got a lot from the federal government. But yes, nowadays, Trayvon Martin's family, or what's the name of that big, gentle giant guy who was robbing people and then got killed in Ferguson? Michael, whatever. Everybody's getting all kinds of money. George Floyd got all kinds of money. But the Weavers, fuck them. They get nothing. So, poor doggo. The doggo did his job. Is Randy still alive? No, Randy passed away a couple years ago, sadly. George Floyd, Yeah. Michael Brown. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Ag, and thank you, Afton. Yes. Trenches and Tread says a couple $100K was not a lot, even back then. I mean, in 1992, $400,000 was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. Comparatively speaking, it was a lot of money. I'm just saying. Now, with that said, chat, speaking of some things here, I just want to make sure you guys are aware of this. There is a stream coming up with some of our friends of the show here, and that is Assholes React. That is 3 Beers and Whiskey 77. They are going live with Steve Gosney because, Whiskey is a man who likes to, he claims he's a truck driver, but he's very well versed in truck stops and lot lizards and the glory hole game. He's like the DSP of glory holes. It's like, Whiskey 77 tries it. He's like, this glory hole's mighty tangy. Anyways, he's going to be on there because Steve Gosney, after his, the whole prosecutor's office thing, he is now doing work for a firm dealing with truck accidents and truck litigation. So it'll be pretty interesting. They're going to cover, and this is where we're going to parlay into ourselves here, but they will be having him on as a special guest. That is on Sunday at 9 p.m. So be there or be square. Just want to let you guys know. Oh. Have you talked with Clyde not to bark to feds? Well, he barks at 2.0, so I don't know what to do there. It's too late. Chorgan is saying in 92, 1 million was rich. Now I think 1 million is good, but not rich money. Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah. And Joe Schmo says 1 semester at Cal, Berkeley in 1992 was only $900 in registration fees. Well, there you go. Imagine how much that's gone now. Smog and Vox is live in 2 days. What a short time to live. Yep. Now, moving on from here, chat, we are moving on to kind of the really sad thing that happened out in Florida. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about here, hold on, I had it up. I had it up somewhere. Oh my God, where did it go? Okay. All right. So if you guys don't know what happened, this is the case of Harjinder Singh. And this is his handiwork. He is a truck driver who came into America illegally through Mexico and got a fucking CDL in California. And this is Mr. Singh up in the corner. And this is what he did, just so you guys can understand and get a feel for what he did. Here's what he did. So notice he is on a highway and he's cutting through the official use U-turn place. What does that mean? Well, it means the police, not some Indian guy. And what did he do ultimately? Well, he was over here on the shoulder. From what we can tell, he was all the way over here on the shoulder, and he made a big fucking U-E cutting across. He pulled a SAR! Why do you do that? So he did this. And as he did it, now this is where the one thing I will say in his defense, like, holy shit, this car just is like, I'm still confused by it because this car is hauling ass down the highway and just goes, fucking hits them at full speed. Like, was the guy driving texting? Because I can't imagine he couldn't go like, I can't stop. Like, some of this is a little, it's like, I'm not blaming him, but Jesus Christ, like Helen Keller is on the wheel. So anyways, here is video of what happened. And this is Singh making the U-turn, and here we go. Here we go. The other sound, but sorry. Notice, chat, you can see that car right there. You can see it right there. Come screaming in. Boom. Now, some of you might say he didn't seem to care. Remember, he's from India. And if you guys go on, like, watch all the people who die in India getting hit by trains, getting, touching electrical wires with big floats to whatever weird god they're praying to. The third world, life is very cheap and death happens all the time. Death happens all the time. That's why it's like, okay, well, they're dead. Whoops. Life is cheap in the third world. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. Why did he do it? Because he wanted to turn around. He probably missed an exit and was trying to turn around. I mean, that's why he did it. He just doesn't think. When in California, your CDL only requires 15 hours to get. It only requires 15 hours of driving to get your CDL in California. So, yeah. Yeah, horizontal blindness from all the white trailer. Yeah, maybe. So the car went Final Destination on them a little bit, yeah. No, I agree. That's kind of what it looks like, how fast they're going. Like, oh no, something's in the way. Oh, well. You're just like, wow. Are the accident reports public records of Florida? Yes, they are going to be. There's a live chase in the LA River. Okay. Yeah. The other driver had no time. Seriously, count the seconds. 1 second. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I get a little leery when I see trucks on the side of the road because they can jump out and do all kinds of weird stuff. But that's just me. That's just me. Real quick, Anonymous 746 for $10 says, "Heyo again. Sorry, I keep thinking your streams are Minnesota traffic court and forget to come." I understand that reference. Hope things are well and hope you give the pup some treats. Of course. Clyde always gets a peen. He's a good boy. He gets all the peens he wants. But yeah, it's clear the guy was doing this because to cut corners. He was doing this to cut corners. He scored a 2 of 12 on the English proficiency test after the wreck. That's not a surprise. That's not a surprise. While the investigation was happening, his brother hopped a plane and fled to Florida. And DeSantis and Newsom had a chat, and his ass was at the plane when they landed. Oh, well, there you go. I guess Gavin Newsom finally did something right. So, what do we know? Well, there are some other things that happen here. And the Florida government, they put out a release about this guy and what happened. And it's interesting. It's interesting what they did here. And they point out where this guy came from and everything that happened. So they said, based upon our initial but ongoing criminal investigation, and this is a criminal investigation in every sense of the word. It's evident that the driver of the truck recklessly and without regard for the safety of others executed a U-turn, and the 3 people in the minivan are dead. And they obtained a warrant for his arrest. So what did they determine? Well, he entered the U.S. illegally, crossed the Mexico border in 2018. And then he obtained a commercial driver's license under the federal authority delegated by ICE to troopers through the 278G program. They issued a detainer. So he's being detained. Thank God. So they said 3 people lost their lives because of this recklessness, and countless people are experiencing pain forever. And yeah, and this guy shouldn't have been here. If he hadn't have done what he did, this wouldn't have happened. So he is now facing charges. And yes, very rightly so. He is fucked, as he should be. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Sellers saying, doesn't Ohio even have a minimum number of hours? Yeah, we do. How many hours do you need for a CDL in Ohio? Let me see here. So let me see. The training hour. Sorry, it was not working right there. For a minimum in Ohio is 40 hours plus 40 hours in the classroom and 40 hours behind the wheel. So you've got a lot. You got to do a lot for a Class A. And in California, you don't have to do that much. You don't have to do that much. It's a minimum of 15 hours for an entry-level driver trainer. So, yeah. 15 hours. So, I heard the Washington State gave him the CDL. Well, someone did out west, and they shouldn't have. But California did, from what I heard. Will the person who gave him the license go to prison? No. Nope. The Pajeets are just money laundering. The temples are just money laundering with the Pajeets. Yeah. Dude about to get that long residency in prison. Yeah. Yep. It is very true. It is very, very true. So, but yeah, that guy is probably going to be going to prison, as he should be going to prison. He can have fun with that. Well, the person who gave him the license to go into prison, says Roland, no, he's not going to go to prison. They're not going to imprison the guy at the DMV who did it. And they're also not going to imprison the guy who came up with the program. That's never going to happen. So. Oh, okay. So Catherine's saying Washington gave him a CDL and then he moved to California and they issued him his current license. Okay. They should be sued out of existence. Yeah, but once again, nothing's going to happen there. This guy's going to go to prison and the blood will be put onto him, not anyone else. Because they'll say we're helping epic immigrinos. So, in a sad way, that's kind of sad. Kind of pathetic, but that's what's going to happen there. So is the brother also illegal? Yes. Will his sentence be enhanced for while committing a felony? I don't know. But he can have fun in prison for basically murdering these people because he's some third world shit stirring toolbox. So, yeah. Schnauzer Patrol says the DOT took their license. Nice. That's good. No. It'll hurt Gavin. Good, and it should. It'll hurt him. Is the death penalty available in Florida? Yes, but it's not a death penalty eligible offense. We are not going to be executing a guy for just driving like Helen Keller. So no, that's not going to be acceptable, and I don't think that would be proper for the death penalty. I mean, I get it, like har, but no, we're not really going to kill the guy. So, also will hurt Vivek's governor run. I don't think so, actually. All he needs is Trump to show up, and Vivek will be fine. So, I know some of you guys are like, oh, Vivek's in trouble. I'm like, I wish I was optimistic as you guys were, because it's not going to happen. So, it's not going to happen. We are going to get H1B'd into oblivion with our governor, and I'm not looking forward to it. But as is what we must do, chat. We must suffer. As Lyndon Johnson said, we shall endure. Because that is what we do. We suffer. Because that is what we are here for. Can the company be held liable? Oh, 100%. 100%. 100% they will be. They hired this guy. They 100% did this. They're 100% liable. And their insurance company is going to figure out ways to bail out of this because they're going to be fucking bankrupted out of this. Just is saying, I hear what you're saying, but what if we did hang people for this? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, still, at the end of the day, he needs to be. I would not want that still. I would not want that still. Was it swift? I don't think so. It was not swift. And yes, there's a principle respondeat superior. Yep. Agency law, all kinds of ways liability will be imputed against the trucking company. So they can have fun with that. So now moving on to some other things out there. There is another dildo launcher, another dildo bandit chat. There is another dildo bandit running wild in our communities, and it's an Ohio man, chat. Of course it's an Ohio man. He was at a New York Liberty game and he got charged with assault. So what did he do? Well, he got charged with throwing a sex toy, and he hit and this is the one where he hit the girls and he hit people in the stands. So he hit a 12-year-old girl in the leg, and he is a guy from Dayton. Merch's town loves to talk about. He ended up surrendering, and that's what he tried to pull the dildo out and throw it, but didn't get far enough. So it says the girl suffered substantial pain. I really doubt she suffered the pain. She feared further injury. I don't think she's worried about getting pelted with dildos everywhere she goes. Although maybe at school, if kids want to be assholes to her, she'll come back to school and as she's walking up to the front door, everybody on the windows above just start chucking dildos at her. That would be pretty funny. And mean as shit, but very funny. She is alarmed and annoyed. Yes. So what did he get charged with? He got charged with attempted assault, third-degree assault, menacing, which means threatening people, reckless endangerment, obscenity, and fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon, interfering with a sporting event, and harassment. So he got released on his own recognizance. And what did he do? Well, he voluntarily surrendered himself after driving to New York City overnight from Ohio. And yes, if you guys, yes, there's an example of a dildo, not his, but an example of it. So, it's funny because they're like, he does not regularly attend WNBA games. He's a casual fan. He's not involved in any of these or other prior incidents. I mean, he just all of a sudden wanted to show up and whip out a dildo and throw it into a basketball game. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, this is just absolutely ridiculous. But there is an update there to that. I just thought it was interesting. They finally made an arrest. All right, guys. If you guys didn't know, I know some of you are really not going to be concerned about this, but I did just want some people to know about it. Yeah, so rapper Sean Kingston is getting sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for his fraud scheme. So he capitalized on his fame and duped people into basically selling him and giving him all kinds of stuff. Things he would never pay for. But him and his mother were each convicted of wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud and conspiracy. His mom was sentenced to 5 years in prison last month. So think about it. Your mom's going to prison and you're going to prison too. So. Now, it is interesting. His attorneys asked if he could self-surrender at a later date. And the judge said no and had him taken into custody right off the bat. Remember, that's rare. Normally, if you're already out, they don't remove you. But he showed up and they arrested him. So, anyways, Kingston and his mom were arrested after a SWAT team raid. What did they do? Well, ultimately, they made high-end merchandise, and they would negotiate deals. He would promise to feature them in their products on social media, and he never did. He never did. He would text the victims fake receipts, and he would tell them, "Here's like fake transfers," but the funds never cleared. And they were never paid, or they received money only after filing lawsuits or saying, "I'm calling the cops." So that is, don't be a shitbag, chat. That just never ends well. Don't be that. A 90-foot television, LOL, not even OLED. Yes. Well, remember, it's remember, taste. Some people have no taste. Some people have no taste. All right, guys. And now, also down in Florida, Courtney Clenney is set to go to trial in December, first week of December. It sounds like even jury selection begins December 1st. So that is where we are looking at stuff. So be ready for that, chat. We are going to get ready for that as it goes. And we're going to take a look at this. Guys, remember, Courtney Clenney, she is the OnlyFans model who's accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death in their Miami condo. Now, the police claim it's murder. She's claiming, it was scary, angry black man, and I had to defend myself. And she claims that she threw the knife at him and it buried in him. So, yeah. Oh, poor glow down, Courtney. Yes. But she is, yes, and that's the other thing, too. Her boyfriend was a big black guy. So, yes, there's a very racial element to this one. But that does not start until December. Yes. Only legal vices could fix her. Oh, no, chat. That's awful. Oh, no, chat. Oh, no. Guys need to be nice over there. Behave yourselves. Ginger says, "Hi everyone, Gray Lives Matter for now." Zakuza saying the trial should only be a week so the jury doesn't have to risk a judgment so they can have Christmas. Well, I think it's starting the first week of December, so they've got a little bit of time before they get Christmas there. I think it's probably going to be at least a week, if not part of a week, for jury selection, and then from there, it's probably going to take a little while to get done. So, didn't she stab him multiple times? From what I understand, yes. So it doesn't make sense. Like, I threw the knife in and went into him and killed him. Like, she stabbed him up a couple of times. Yeah, her story does not make a lot of sense. And they pretty much, right off the bat, she's not only they're doing the whole, "Hey, can you wait in the car for us?" or anything like that. No, they straight up know she did it. And they arrested her pretty much right off the rip and suspected everything. Speaking of Florida trials, Donald Adelson opening statements for tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. Yes, there was blood everywhere. The other part of this whole thing. Yes, there are a lot of issues in this case. So let me see here. Really quick. T-Rex Travels says, "Jesus Christ, only 15 hours when I got my CDL through Prime. Through Prime, the company. They made me drive 50,000 miles with a trainer before they let me go solo. 50,000 miles? Jeez, buddy. That is ridiculous." Johan is saying, "I wonder what he was listening to while making the turn. My thoughts, my boys are on Metallica, Seek and Destroy." Funny. And then Johan for 5 subs. Let's go, chat. Let's go. You know what that's worthy of? And a war. You know it's worth 2. There we go. There you got your 2 woos. So. Oh, you guys are going on about Never mind. I'm not going to get involved in whatever you guys are talking about to each other. We're just going to leave that be. We're going to leave that be. Now, so Courtney Clenney is set for us, but we don't have her yet. We don't have it yet. Now, let me see here. All right. Now, moving on to another thing, and this is something I covered on my Twitter feed. It's the case of Orist Schur. And Orist Schur was a sergeant in the I said he was in the Air Force, but apparently he was ended up becoming Space Force as they redesignated things, and he became in charge of all of that. Well, he got sentenced to 54 years in court or prison in Colorado. Now, what happened in this case? Well, if you guys have followed this, you guys have probably seen some of the information there. I really need a bra. Well, need your mom, so. Now, what happened here? Well, notice how this article's worded. He was sentenced to 54 years for fatally shooting a suspected teen car thief. So his car was in the process of being stolen, and he came outside and chased him off. So what did he do? He grabbed a pistol, hopped into his car, and chased after the two car thieves. He chased them through his neighborhood, shot at about a total of 11 times. And then he finally kind of caused them to crash. And as they got out of the car, it turns out that they were a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old, and the 13-year-old was driving the getaway car. And they were trying to steal, his car because obviously what they did. Yes, he still has business. Yes, but here's the thing. If you do this in any state, and I want to make sure you guys understand this, what this guy did, if you do what he did, you're going to prison. I don't care if you're in Texas. It's just not going to work. And this is him right after he did it. He did end up killing one of the, now they say suspected carjackers, but he wasn't in the car. He killed a guy named Xavier Kirk. He got 54 years for that murder and also shooting at everybody. Now, the 13-year-old who was in the car was also hospitalized. And as he said, he was woken by his car alarm. He grabbed his pistol and ran outside to his Hyundai Elantra. Notice, Chad, it's not a Dodge Hellcat with the Scat Pack in it. It's a fucking Hyundai Elantra. Like, that's what he was defending. I get it. It's his ride and all that. But, that's what you... that's what you decide to, go to the mattress for. You're like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I mean, is that really something you want to go to the... Is that really something you want to risk? Because it's like, that's a hell of a thing to risk. You guys can see here is, what an Elantra looks like. And here's another good example of what Elantras look like. Yes, don't steal. I get that. Now, what happened from here? Well, as he was in the car, trying to get these kids out of the car, he confronted them, but they fled into the car. He then gave chase in his car and fired multiple rounds at the teens. Yeah, that's not going to work. That one... that's one of the bigger things there. Just like turning your street into a bullet festival. So the fleeing car then crashed into a backyard fence of a home a couple blocks away. The one who got killed was hopped out of the car and began running away. He was found later suffering from gunshot wounds. That said, 13-year-old was driving the getaway car, was shot in the back, and managed to get a relative's house before he thought being brought to a hospital and survived. I mean, just It's not the best. It's not the best story. It's not the best story. Do I think it's satisfying that he took out the trash? Yes. I mean, that's the question you need to ask yourself is, what is he going to do again in the future? And well, you guys, what, you can't do damage to your own property now? I mean, no, but you have to be very careful about what you guys do here. Like, you have to be very fucking careful. I don't understand Bronca's take on this. I mean, could he articulate self-defense? Sure. But you're gonna have to convince a jury of soccer moms that you driving through the neighborhood fucking shooting it up, because let's be real, those bullets did not all hit the car. Which you then, one of the guys runs off, the other guy dies, and they're 14 years old. That jury is going to say, wow, a 14-year-old kid is dead. Somebody should be responsible for that. So you've already got to work on that. Like, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to it. There's not a whole lot to this case. I mean, that's the problem with it. That's the problem with it. Are the kids driving away in the Elantra? If so, he's still likely fucked in Texas. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Texas is like the only state that allows you to deal with mischief at dusk. But it's not clear what was all happening that day. Now, it was very interesting because there is some audio of this, and the kid who survived. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So here's the kid who gets shot. This is the kid who actually survived. Here we go.
Today was a hard day. I mean, it's been a long 2 years. I just keep thinking, like, everybody was going up there talking about how great he was and how good of a father he was. But then the thought that crosses my mind right after is, if that's the case, then why isn't Xavier here if he was just such a great person?
Which I think is fucking horseshit. Don't steal cars, you little fuck! Go work on curing cancer, homie. Go work on curing cancer. Yeah. It's like because he was stealing cars, yes. Lesson not learned. Yep, you're only here because the bullets got deflected in the car. Why would he go on camera? Everyone knows he's a thief. I mean, because he's got no shame. No shame. I thought he was gonna say a slur. No. Yeah, I know. These kids were just fixing to turn their life around. They're nice boys, didn't do nothing wrong. They're gonna be the best SoundCloud rappers ever. That's what they're gonna be doing. So yes, I know. And this is what they do. This is very common. You pull shit like this in the hood and people, will pop your grape. But you do it outside, you're like, oh, golly gee willikers, my friend Xavier, it's like, why were you and your friend stealing fucking cars at 13? My dad would have fucking if I was a 13-year-old stealing cars, my dad would have broke my fucking legs. My dad would have broke my legs if he found out I was doing that. So, yeah. I say the slurs are the members only. Yes, well, that's why you have to be there. Because when I want to say the slurs, like, you don't get to hear that here. So, especially that. Oh, yeah, they don't have daddies. I get it. Yes, I know. In chat, MIT now is, got a hole in their educational program. So it's such a shame. But ultimately, guys, I know some of you probably don't think this is an issue, but don't fucking chase people down like that. Don't fucking chase people down. You can't you can't do that. You can't do that. It's not going to work, okay? Jim put out a post. Oh, he did? Ooh. What's it all about? That he's alive? Well, that's what he wants you to think. Yeah. Don't want to get chased. Don't steal cars. Yeah, but remember, I told you, your jury's full of normies. They're not going to subscribe to that theory. The fact you killed someone is already like way past where they're actually willing to go. So be very careful about what you do and how you deploy force. They were leaders in cancer research. I know. We're never going to cure cancer now that Xavier's dead. So. Oh. But I we covered that today. People were freaking out about it, but it's like, no, it's just he fucking shot up the neighborhood and people don't fucking like that. Juries don't like that. Juries don't like bad guy, somebody they think is a bad guy doing some bad guy shit. So that's just normal for it. That is just normal for it. Okay. Now, moving on, and this is a direct response to what's going on in Texas lately. If you guys have not seen, in Texas has done redistricting, and the Texas map now has been redistricted. And it's been, holy cow, it's been gerrymandered to hell and back. Now, what happens here? So, this is Texas. Now, this is the Texas election map now. And you guys could see, instead of letting these larger cities dominate and have snaking things, El Paso, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, and Dallas are all set up, and everywhere else, well, guess what? The majority of Texas, well, there you go. It's all red. The cities have been isolated. So at this point, Texas has eliminated five Democrat seats. Well, California's answer to this is, well, we could be pieces of shit too. And California has a current map that looks like this. This is California's current map. You're like, okay. You're like, that kind of looks like it's been gerrymandered shit. I mean, it doesn't look good. But you know what? Overall, it's not too bad. Here's what the proposed map is going to be. They're going to eliminate a bunch of Republican seats by getting rid of them. So they go from this, they go to meow. They start meow and they end meow. Meow, 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 meow. That's what's happening there. And why is that important? Well, the California legislature, in response to all of this and being crybabies, went ahead and passed bills to allow the redistricting to go onto the ballot. To be on the ballot is what they wanted. So now they're moving forward with it. So what happened here? So they it's very interesting what they call this shit. Texas is the next North Carolina. We'll see. Now, yes, there are some issues about whether this proposal is legal or not, and it's not 100% clear here. So Gavin Newsom says Trump is trying to rig the election. He's trying to set up the conditions where he can claim it was not won fair and square. Yeah, because you're messing with it. But yes, that's 100% true. But anyways, there is a legislative package passed in California called the Election Rigging Response Act, the ERA. I was going to say, can you say N near this or I? I don't know about the rest of it, but it's almost there. So it'll be about whether to keep existing maps or use the new ones. They said that the Republicans accused the Democrats in California of setting aside the state's independent redistricting commission to favor the progressives. Yep, that's true. All they do is accumulate power. And we're smart enough and able to do it. So that is where we're going to go here. And they said these new maps would remain in effect through the 2030 election and the census when the new independent commission would return. So they're doing this just temporarily. Once again, this is just as a big fuck you to Texas, which it's like, I mean, it's funny, but it's not the end of the world. Now, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens here. Now, we'll see what happens here. And voters have until November 4th to examine their maps and figure out what they want or don't want. Now, it's clear they're basically drawn to force out the Republicans, but we'll see what happens there. It is interesting. It's going to cost over $200 million for a special election in California, which is not a very, they have all kinds of propositions for their constitution and stuff. When it comes to this, I doubt anybody's going to vote. I doubt anybody's really going to vote on this. So we'll find out what happens there, but it is interesting. People are fighting back and going forward. Yes. California's poised to lose a lot more in apportionment in 2030. Yes, they are. California is bleeding people. So we'll see. We'll see how much California thinks they're going to be able to survive, because eventually they are bleeding seats. And if you guys have seen those maps going to Colorado, going to Arizona, going to Texas are fucking huge. Like, people are fleeing the state. Also including all the people getting afuera or voluntarily afueraing themselves. It is a very interesting time. All right, chat. Here we go. They better not vote the same way they did in Cali. Well, they are in Cali, so they are going to vote like they're in Cali. So, yeah, California doesn't need people. They need paper. Well, I kind of understand that. I understand that idea. Mr. Medicare was swatted. I mean, he's always swatted. He's perpetually swatted. Yes, California people are infecting everywhere. Yes, even Ohio. Even Ohio, they are infecting us here. Not that badly, but they are still infecting with their scumminess. All right, here, real quick. Let's see here. Okay. Let me see here. Where are we at to? Oh, okay. Now, moving on to a story that's kind of sad, and it's not clear what's happening here. But if you guys remember Pat Tillman, the football player who joined the 75th Ranger Regiment, he joined up, and he was a player for the Arizona Cardinals. He had played at Arizona State. And if you guys hadn't seen it, like, he was, like, the dude was an NFL Pro Bowler. Like, he was pretty good at what he did in the NFL. If you guys have ever seen a picture of Pat Tillman, that's Pat Tillman right there. He joined the Army, joined the Ranger Regiment, and as he did that, he joined after September 11th. and decided to, serve America. Well, not after before September 11th. To help. He wanted to serve, so he did. And yes, Pat Tillman was in Afghanistan, and he was killed in a friendly fire incident. And yeah, it was covered up. It was initially covered up, but yes, he did get killed in a friendly fire incident. And not only did let me see here. What are you guys saying? Okay. Not only did Pat Tillman join the army, but his brother had joined. Yes, they lied to his mom about what happened. Yes. But Pat Tillman's brother had joined and was in the same unit and everything. Well, there's some interesting stuff out there. Pat Tillman's brother has talked about his brother before, but it's been kind of a quiet person about it. But his brother Richard, some weird stuff happened. And I mean, I think a lot of this is dealing with his brother and dealing with the loss of his brother. Hold on one second, chat. Apparently Clyde is not being quiet, so apparently Clyde is not being a quiet boy. So anyway, Pat Tillman's brother, this is a bit of a weird thing here, but I think this is obviously something's going on with his brother, and I'm sure his brother is suffering from loss and suffering from all kinds of issues about what has happened here and what has gone on. And his brother showed up to a U.S. post office and did some nasty shit. Did some, you might call it base, but it's very worried about what happened here. Something happened to this guy, and I'm sure that his brother getting killed didn't probably help things as far as mental health is concerned. But I hadn't heard about this till somebody brought it up to me, and I thought, just kind of highlighting a lot of these guys going through a lot of shit that happened to them, and the government just kind of fucking leaves them to hang. So anyways, this is the malicious destruction of government property by fire, and it's from a postal inspector. So you're like, okay, what does that mean? Well, the post office was involved at some point. So what happened here? So they point out that this person is a U.S. postal inspector. And what do? They normally are assigned to mail theft and external crimes and handle those problems. Remember, postal inspectors are federal agents, and they are some of the more thorough and well-trained federal agents that are out there. Now, what happens here? So ultimately, the statement of probable cause that on July 20th, somebody had gone to a USPS facility and it set it on fire, set a post office on fire. When they got there, they observed a fire-damaged vehicle parked in the remains of what appeared to be the post office lobby. Outside of the building, sustained smoke damage, and the words "Viva la Mi" were graffitied on the wall. And they immediately found Richard Tillman. They found Pat Tillman's brother. That he was present at the scene when they arrived. And they identified him as responsible for the fire. And he admits to setting the fire. And it said he purchased Instalogs, so like those things you could light, and lighter fluid. And then he placed all those throughout his vehicle, poured lighter fluid over them. And then he started his car and let it, go right in the window. He started writing Viva la Mi, but he didn't finish what he wanted to write because the heat from the fire was too intense. So they say also at the scene they met with the ATF, and what do? Well, they tried to collect all the evidence they could, but a lot of it was fire damage and it was parked in the remains of what appeared to be the post office. And they're just showing you as an example of what happened to the post office here. But like, he fucked it up, guys. He tore it up. He tore it up. So it's actually an interesting story. And like I said, the whole Pat Tillman story is sad, but looks like for his brother, dealing with all the crap that happened, it's not over, and it's not going to be over anytime soon, which is a shame, for all that. Which is a shame. Okay. Roland says, I'd be pissed if my packages were there. Hunch is saying, Sean, look at the last. Last what? Oh, what you sent me? Okay. Well, I see what you sent me. I mean, I talked about it. I don't know what you're gonna have to tell me more because I don't know where to look. Did he go postal? Yes. What was he trying to write? I don't know. Maybe the police know there. So, but they'll put his, they'll fix all that up and put it back out there. Is this a reverse postal since he's not a postal agent? I don't know if that counts that way, but it's an interesting theory. It's an interesting theory that you could do that. But I mean, it works. It works in my head, and that's what matters. So, let's see here. We are not gonna do. All right, hold on, chat. So I kind of lost where I'm at here. Oh, I remember where I'm at. So from here, guys, we move on to the state of New Mexico, and New Mexico had a mandatory cooling off and waiting period for possessing firearms or purchasing firearms. Well, the 10th Circuit, and remember, guys, the 10th Circuit goes through the mountain states. They held that it's unconstitutional. And it is a pretty interesting opinion. It's like 50 pages long, but it is interesting to see that it was a unanimous decision and there was no, there was no problems with it. It was very well done. And they point out that the right to keep and bear arms includes a lawful acquisition. Therefore, a cooling off period infringes on the Second Amendment. And I agree. So it's about time. Good job, New Mexico. You guys got a big win out there after all these years of being abused and treated like shit. Yes, it's all right there. And then if you guys want to see the governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, she's upset the governor or the courts have ruled against her. But she says this is plainly wrong and likely to cost lives in New Mexico. Our waiting period was carefully crafted to minimize gun violence while respecting the Second Amendment rights. I mean, how have you done that? How have you done that exactly? How have you done that exactly? I really, really, really would love to know. Now, are they going to appeal this? I don't think they want to risk that. I don't think. Oh, hold on here. We have a correction statement I need to fix up here. Hunch is saying this is the youngest Tillman brother. He didn't serve in Operation Afghan Freedom. Okay, so this brother did not deploy. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Hunch. Appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, now can we get some of these judges in the 7th Circuit? I agree. We need them everywhere. Guys, we are not going to get into this one. It's a 50-page opinion, but it is really good. We can take a look at it at some point here in the future, but it's 50 fucking pages. It's 50 pages. It's very interesting, though. Very, very, very interesting, though. Oh. Let me fix this. All right, chat. We are here in the home stretch. We are actually an hour and 25 minutes in. Ooh, we're gonna have an earlier show tonight. I might get you guys done in 2 hours. This will be pretty good. I'll be very impressed with myself. I will be very impressed with myself. Now, this one here I thought was kind of funny. If you guys remember in Buffalo a couple years ago, there was a guy who went to the supermarket in Buffalo. It was like a black run. It was a supermarket, and he only shot the black people at the supermarket. So there were white people working at the supermarket, and he was walking through the checkouts, and it's like, oh, you're white. Sorry, sir. And then he looked down the next one and said, oh, you're black. Bop. And he just kept on going through, shooting every black person he could find. His Peyton Gendron is his name, or Gendron is his name. And this is a very interesting thing here. He wants the federal charges dropped because his grand jury was not diverse enough. Now, it's interesting because he's serving a life sentence after pleading guilty to the state charges. But now he's complaining that his federal grand jury was too white, which... be like, no, Your Honor, I'm part black. I need black on my jury. Could he get the death penalty in federal law? Certainly. So what did he do? Well, yes, the white supremacist I love how they phrase all of this. The white supremacist gunman who killed 10 black people told a judge that the federal charges against him should be dismissed and dropped because there weren't enough black people and other minority groups on the grand jury that indicted him. And I think that's fair, although if they're all white, it's like, the majority of where you live is going to be white. Now, there are times where you can't, it's like the Batson challenges chat, where you can't remove minorities from juries. You have to have a neutral reason for it. But this is not this is like a reverse Batson thing. I don't think it's going to work. But yes, the grand jury is drawn from a cross section of the community. Here's the problem, though. If nobody shows up for the grand jury, what do you do? I mean, this is something I have to explain to people all the time. Grand juries are full of generally older white people who can afford to take some time off or are retired. This idea that you're going to find, you're going to get some really smart, hippie dude, it's all going to work out like that. No, it never does. It never does. It never, ever, ever does. You're not going to get the hippie dippies on your trial. And you guys, people like you base people, are not going to be on, the cases you'd want them on. It's just a normal thing there. I want some Eskimos on my jury. Inuits? What? But yes, you can come in and be like, get yourself a football ring. It's like, no, sorry, I won this. I am on the football team. Oh. Have I seen the people of Buffalo because they match the weather? Yes. Yes. I do understand all of that. I understand all of that. Yes, grand jury's rubber stamp anyway. Yeah, I guess. But still, but yes, who shows up for grand jury? White people. Who shows up for jury duty? White people. Even in cities, mainly white people. Or the black people that show up are at least socially conservative and don't like little hoods running around on them. So, that's another thing there. That is another issue with that, but I do think it's very interesting. He's like, Your Honor, there weren't enough darkies on my grand jury. Wait, sir, I thought you were a white supremacist. I am, but I wanted Negroes on my grand jury. Why would you want them on there? And he's just like, Judge, trust me. You're like, how How does that work? How do you get them? I don't know, but I think it's very funny. Whiskey says my sister did grand jury duty for weeks. She asked questions and made them convince her. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with all that. Papa saying, of course, because gentrification. Yes, look at me. Yes, the jury's pulled from voter registration list. Yes. And who's normally registered to vote? Older people and mainly white people. So. All right, let's see what we got here. Yes, I wanted him to watch. Online Rent says, I lived in a majority non-white county. You would be intrigued by a jury duty cruise. Well, I mean, yes, if the more urban you get, the more likely you are going to get minorities on your jury pool. But ultimately, a lot of the people you can always count on are older white people for juries. So, you never want a black man on a jury. That would be the most conservative black man you could find. Yeah. Well, even the old black ladies are grandmas are very, very conservative. So, hold on, I need to open up. It's a little warm in here. Ooh, it's getting warm. I'm feeling it. Sula's saying this is so groiper. Yeah, well, you're like, So somebody was asking here, and Sellers asked a good question. Are federal juries pulled from voter rolls? Yes, and driver's license things. The feds use the same thing. The feds do use the same thing. So, Geopathic says, that nigga's guilty. I don't need to deliberate. Hang that nigga now. Uncle Runkus, yes. Yes, it is true. It is true. But, yeah, you got to be careful. But yes, and I, you have to explain to people a lot of times, juries show up mainly white people. Mainly white people. Like I said, guys, this is just so funny. He's like, I want more minority involvement in my federal hate crime trial. I want more minority participation. So it is very interesting. And yes, the Justice Department has said it would seek the death penalty if he's found guilty. So he's got all the incentive to fight. All right, guys. All right. Now moving on from there. Bryan Kohberger. Guys, remember Bryan Kohberger murdered all those co-eds in Idaho, at the house in Idaho, admitted to all of it. But since then, he has been put in the Idaho Maximum Security Institution, the IMSI. And apparently some of his kites and complaints have been leaked to the press. And is he getting graped? No, but it's interesting what's happening in there. And, all I could do is say, oh my God, this is some of the worst handwriting ever. Just look at him writing this all out. Even if he's using the Flexi pen, imagine if he wrote a ransom and had slapped it to your door. And he says, I love this where he's just going on and on and on here. This is very much a Office Space moment. And I'll let you guys read here. She's like, I have on several occasions not received all items of food on my tray. Probably not getting his cookie or treat. And he says, I addressed this during service and have yet to receive any replacements. And in fact, the kitchen is not even called. He's like, they're supposed to do some things. And he's just, taking advantage of it. And he says the policy book, and every inmate gets a big policy book of the, of what's expected of them, and if there's ever any changes, they can always look at the book and give them a basic idea of what they're expected to do, what they're supposed to know. to comply with things. Now, what is he saying here? Well, he says the items are missing which are pointed out at the time of service will be replaced. He says, I wish to, without exception, receive these replacements. And they said, well, how do we try to address this? And he says addressing the issue with staff at the time of the meal service is correct. He says, I wish for the items to be called for and items replaced when there's access to it. And he says, the nutritional standard is not being upheld unless I receive my full tray. I'm like, what is your full tray? Because I don't know. But yes, he's likely getting withheld as part of his tray. He's going full Sarah Boone. I mean, well, he's starting to. Now, there are other things he sent. And this one is very... This one's very... yeah, I guess we'll say it's grim. But it can be funny at the same time. All right, so what are we looking at here? Well, why is this? Oh, there we go. Yes, Sarah and... Oh my gosh, they could enjoy themselves at Olive Garden, and they could... Yeah, they could do so much with that. Wait, why did he circle the checkbox for agreements? He didn't, someone else did. So this is from Bryan Kohberger. This is him once again whining and crying about something. This one here is actually like all the information goes out, so that's on there. So what happens next for Bryan? Well, this is the next one he does. And he says, as I continue the SPI phase, I wish to discuss if I may be transferred to another ag-seg setting, such as B blocks. He says, not engaging any of the recent striking as well as the beating subject as being subject to minute-by-minute verbal threats and harassment. And that age, I think it's like other bases of 2 to 3 blocks is an environment that I wish to transfer from. And he says if possible I request transfer to B block immediately. He says I wish my sperm to go with me. So and it's like and he's not saying sperm, he's like, I wish to speak with you soon. Although you could hear Bryan going, I wish to have my sperm with me. He probably is jacking off everywhere. Yes, all sloppy. So there was another thing here. And I do like this. And there's a response. And this is actually what happens with kites. You put out something, there's a kite or a concern form. And notice it's called the concern form. And you could see there's concern here. And their captain is, yes, much concern. He says, Mr. Kohberger, on any tier at IMSI, there are sometimes disruptions to operations, such as residents flooding. And yes, on J2, it is a relatively rare occurrence. And J2 is generally a fairly calm and quieter tier. I do not think that B block would be any better for you. Give it some time. And that's what they're going to tell you. You're going to have to tough it out. You're going to have to suffer a little bit. Yes. Yes, I wish to sperm with you. Now, there was another addition to this, or there was another part to this. And guys, this is actually getting kind of serious when you start seeing it. This involves PREA, and that's federal law. That is the Prison Rape Elimination Act. And we've watched that video, I think a little bit of it. It's a video you see, and the government and the facilities have to prevent and follow certain protocols to make sure nobody gets SA'd in prison or in jails. So who are the people located involved in this? Well, Bryan Kohberger is, and then all the staff here. And these guys are staff who may have heard it. Now, it's not just actual acts, but it's the threats of acts. And he stated his form stating he has been subject to threats or harassment, recently escalating to overt sexually violent threats and statements. Like, you should have thought about a long time ago, brother. And it says Lieutenant Mallant received the form and conducted an interview with Kohberger. And Kohberger stated a resident that goes by Peru told him, I something you. And it says Kohberger also stated an unknown resident from Tier 1 of J Block said the only ass we'll be eating is Kohberger's. And they're saying that Kohberger stated that that Officer Signora was present for that comment made by Peru. And it says, due to the officer being on B nights, the interview cannot be conducted to attempt to corroborate the allegation. I mean, if he's on, like, I think it's a little ridiculous when they go like, well, he switched shifts. We can't ever talk to him again. Oh, well, no, you could bring him in and say, no, bro, don't hop on the sailboats. Talk to me here for a minute. So it's just a little nonsense. So anyways, they submitted an information report outlining their involvement, and they recall vulgar language being used against Kohberger, but, couldn't identify who said it. And, he says, like, I don't know who's saying what. And they say it's unsubstantiated, but due to no aggressor being able to be identified, no further actions were taken. And Bryan Kohberger is saying, well, he does feel safe there. It's like, what does he mean? Like, make up your mind, dude. Holy shit. I don't know how you get your mind here, but yeah. Yeah. So he's kind of having what, it's just very interesting how this breaks down. It's just very interesting how this breaks down. They say, why can't the notary interviewer work nights? Yeah, well, that's a thing. Eventually, they're going to have to start. So that's there. Don't speak Spanglish. Well, that's a true thing there. Don't speak Spanglish. All right, guys. We're on to the last thing. Now, if you guys remember, back in February 23rd of 2024, this comes out from New York Attorney General Letitia James. And it says $446,576,230.62. That's a lot of freaking money. So what did all that money come from? What did all this money come from? Well, we know where it came from. This is the money that they claim Trump had wrongfully accumulated and that he had ripped the banks off of because the way he values his properties. And this is the case with Judge Engeron. This is the one with all the civil penalties. This is not the one where there's the 34 felony counts and all that. Also, real quick, chat, I have to pay the water bill, so give me 1 second here. And anyways, guys, now that we're back, remember, this was all done because this was all part of the lawfare against Trump in the lead up to 2024. Not only this, but the 34 counts of felony, basically bookkeeping and jerking around that they ginned up against him. Also, Jack Smith's case out of Mar-a-Lago, and then also the insurrection charge. But as we get back to this is Letitia James talking shit and saying this was the verdict. Now, remember, we covered this a couple of times as it was going on. Trump had to, according to Judge Engeron, the interest along with that was about $500 million. And to allow him to appeal it, they were demanding that Trump put up exactly dollar for dollar. And eventually Trump had to appeal that. And the Court of Appeals is like, okay, you don't need like all of it. Put like $100 million up. And Trump did. He got $100 million put together and put together a bond. And then they appealed all of this. And the appeal has come out. And no, we're not going over it. We're not going to do it. And there's a reason why we're not going to do it tonight, chat. There's a big freaking reason. It is 300 pages in length. Right here, you guys. 300 freaking pages. We are not going over all of this. But the gist of it right now is the disgorgement that Judge Engeron ordered, that $464 million plus interest, is a violation of the Eighth Amendment. It is an unjust and unconstitutional fine. So that is gone now. It is struck down. Because it was truly excessive. Yes, Ron Coleman did post that, and we're going to get to that because he does a great job of breaking it down. Ron Coleman does a great job breaking it down. But ultimately, chat, that part has happened. And that's important to know because ultimately, that is a massive loss for Letitia James. She just took a big fat fucking L. She just took a big fat fucking L on it. And it's very, 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 very important to see this. And all the judges agreed. That the fine was ridiculous. But what they also stuck with, though, they decided that everything else that had happened was on the up and up. It was on the up and up. And we're going to get to why I think you guys need to see what happened here. Now, remember, this is because it's New York. Remember, the Supreme Court is the trial court level. The Intermediate Court of Appeals is the Appellate Division. And then finally, the Court of Appeals is the highest court in their land. So remember, New York does everything weird because they're New York. And notice this is the people of the state of New York by through Letitia James versus Donald Trump et al. And then you guys can see, look at all these parties that got involved on one side or another. Just like, look at all this, amicus curiae everywhere. So what happened? Well, we're going to get to this first paragraph because this just explains a lot here. All right. So this is 300 pages and there's like 3 separate opinions in this. We're not gonna get to all of that though. But 2 of the judges say, we find the Supreme Court correctly found the defendants reliable. We agree with the Supreme Court that the Attorney General acted well within her lawful power in bringing the action, and that she vindicated a public interest in doing so. So 2 of the judges are saying this was all actually on the up and up. The audio again? Uh-oh. I don't know. Hold on, chat. Is that better? I don't know what to do. Afton says, weren't there only 3 judges involved? No. There were 5. So you can see Renwick, Moulton, Higgett, Rosado, and Friedman. And you can see right here, these are your 5 judges that were on it. And we watched the oral arguments for this. They also find that the trial court properly ruled only on claims that are timely under the applicable statute of limitations. So they're saying that the court overall acted within its authority. Now, what does that mean here? And they say, ultimately, they're giving the blessing to everything but the fines and the disgorgement. And they say, while the injunctive relief ordered by the court is well crafted, and this is the injunctive relief that the Trump organization has to have oversight, that Trump and his sons are not allowed to operate in the business for a set amount of time. Those things and those parts of it are all okay. And that the argument is that they are still accused of defrauding the banks. But the disgorgement order, which directs they pay nearly $500 million to the state, is an excessive fine. And yes, this decision is one of 3 issued by the court. And that's the thing. Like, there are a bunch of them. We're going to have to get through them. People are going to have to read them. But this is where the court gets involved and starts pointing out, listen, this is kind of important when we're deciding if people got screwed with. Here. And what do they talk about here? And they say, they point out the fines are excessive when it's grossly proportional to the gravity of the offense. And now, this is where this judge is not on Trump's side. And it says, defendants attempt to deny the gravity of their actions with blithe claims that none of the counterparties were harmed, ignores a core reality. A bank making a loan seeks not only repayment, but also compensation in case of default. And one of the managing directors of the bank said that just because we get repaid on principal doesn't address whether at all we got properly recompensed for the risk. And now they say, while the harm certainly occurred, it was not the cataclysmic harm that can justify a $500 million award. And they say it is a virtue of the statute the Attorney General may act as she did before a catastrophe occurs. To do that, they said, however, achieving these goals, the state is not entitled to compound its victory with a massive punitive fine. And it says the fine can, and additionally, a fine cannot be proportionate unless it's reasonably calculated to encompass only the actual proceeds the defendant realized. And it says to get disgorgement, they bear the burden of establishing an approximation of profits that were connected. And they say both when you have illegal and legal conduct together, it's up to the Attorney General to distinguish between those profits. There's more, and it keeps on going here. And there's a couple spots where they talk about, and they said, only once when the Attorney General satisfies all those can they keep going. And it says, the Attorney General did not, the Attorney General did not carry her burden. The calculation of disgorgement was far from reasonable, was not a reasonable approximation. And it says, contrary to the finding, the profits of sales from the Ferry Point license and the sale of the OPO lease accounted for $194 million of the disgorgement, were not approximations. And it says, they talk about the price paid by Bally's to the defendants in 2023 should not have been subject to disgorgement, as there was no finding of liability by the Trump organization and no colorable calculation of ill-gotten gains. And they say the Attorney General's motion for partial summary judgment was predicated on 5 loan transactions and 2 insurance transactions, but not the Ferry Point license. And they say that ultimately, the defendants made an argument that a bunch of this stuff was time barred. And they talk about, as being discussed above, the Attorney General asserted the loans and insurance transactions were timely because the claims accrued with each submission of a false financial statement after the accrual date. So they say rather, it didn't require submission of things. It required the submission of no material adverse change letters. So the claims for one of these things are deemed abandoned. And they say even if this claim was timely, there were no material change letters were not material to the license. So they point out that there's so many problems here. They talk about the sale of the OPO lease, and that is a different lease that the Trump organization had. And they said that they would have been able to realize profit because of other legitimate factors, like their experience in hospitality and developing high-end real estate. Thus, the sale, there is no readily separable rendering of the illegal and legal profits. And they say, for the foregoing reasons, we vacate the disgorgement. And they point out that the Attorney General still has a remedy. They say that the trial court properly granted injunctive relief. So that's the issue here. So while they can do that, you still win because you got your injunctive relief. And they're not getting in the way of that. So for right now, who would carry her burden? She's fat. Yes. Oh, very true. Very true, chat. So what happened? Trump. Total Letitia James death. I mean, he BTFO'd this woman and she had no fucking chance. And it's good news that she lost. It's good news she lost. Because this is a big fucking L for her. This is a big fat L. The biggest and fattest L. But the injunction is still in place. And the finding that there was harm, it was way out of proportion to what the harm was. That's all still there. And that's not good for us, chat. But this can all get appealed. Trump can appeal it. So can Letitia James. And it will get appealed up to the New York State Court of Appeals. And honestly, remember, guys, this is Letitia James. And as I said on my thing before, remember, this bitch had no problem doing all of this. So I don't feel bad that she's now being investigated for mortgage fraud. It's like, suffer, you whore. Suffer. And now she's facing a grand jury. Yep, she is facing a grand jury of her own. And it couldn't happen to a nicer fucking person. Couldn't happen to a nicer person. Couldn't happen to a nicer person. Oh, let's see here. What is it? Hold on here. What the heck is this? Somebody just sent me something and all right. So suffer indeed, yes. How could they say fines are too high when Trump is a rich evil? Yeah. So yes, a lot of primary mortgage fraud or primary residence mortgage fraud is going on. Yes. Yes. 805 Peach is saying, speaking of big L's, you see Viva talking to James O'Keefe about Nick? No, I mean, you know, that's fine. You know, Viva's allowed to have whatever friends he wants, and if he wants to, you know, enlighten people about Nick, go for it. That's his thing. And you know, when he starts vouching for people with Nick, and they run into Nick, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is a mess." You know, that looks bad on Viva. So, oh well. One day, chat, you'll see me hobnobbing in on Fox and telling Mark Levin he could fuck himself. But today is not that day, but it might be soon. Yes. What was with all these public people getting caught with mortgage fraud? It's because they all do it. It's all a game, and it's all a big game, and we're not part of it. Yes, Marilyn Mosby, the former DA in Baltimore, I think she became the mayor too. Yeah, caught 3 mortgage fraud felonies. Yep. Yes, she did. And then chat, we got some other things here. Shredder S07 for 5 subs. Thank you, Shredder, for your support and your generosity. Once again, get yourself in a war. Never have enough of woos. Johan is saying, I ordered from AIM Surplus, a great Ohio company. Yep, and if you guys look right here, that is an AIM Surplus sticker. AIM Surplus is a good surplus company out of Ohio. They sell all kinds of great stuff. Steven is saying, have you seen the video from Actual Justice Warrior I posted in Discord? A 93% acquittal for bench trials on violent felonies. Is that the lady out of New Orleans? Or nah, I don't know if I haven't seen it, but I'll look for it. So, but I'll take a look at it. And then another for $5 says, be quiet. A black woman is being petty. Yes. Well, they're going to be petty as shit back to her. So have fun with that, Letitia. And then Bella brings a great point. None of this means nothing if the judge, Engeron, never gets in trouble. He knew better than what he did and shouldn't be trusted on the bench. Yeah. Judge Mershon, Judge Juan Mershon, they all need to fucking pay for what they've done. But once again, guys, there's man's justice and there's God's justice. And they're not the same thing. And they don't always happen at the same time. Typically, they don't happen at the same time. So remember, there's always God's justice with these fucking scumbags. And you know what? Like, sometimes we just have to settle for that and trust that God will dole out that justice to these fucking people at some point. I know that it's frustrating, but that is the game we have chosen to play. And therefore, that is the game we are forced to deal with. Which, once again, means we have to suffer. That's why we are here, is to suffer. So, let's see here. Telling Mark Levin to stop calling the kingdom of Jerusalem fucking Israel. Well, it's a lot of shit I need to tell Mark Levin. There's some things he, like some of his books, like Men in Black and some of the books on the Supreme Court, very good, but he's been bad overall in a lot of things. So, Old Line Rent says, I'm Irish. I play the long game on justice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Panzer says, Sean, did you see that Trump is president? Yes, I know. I heard that. Man, he's going to like move her and shake her things in the government. It should be good news, huh? It should be good, huh? Real quick, chat. This is something, if you guys have been following things on the internet, I do want to bring this up real quick. We will be addressing this at some point in the future. If you guys notice, this is Pixie, and this is the Pixie that's dealing with Destiny. And if you guys have heard, Pixie may have, or Destiny may have done some things with somebody who may not have been of age. We're going to cover that, but I do think this is a pretty good thing, just kind of like a spoiler.
How old are you?
18.
18?
Want to see my license?
No. Just look a little younger.
Thanks.
How old are you?
18.
Pixie's hard to root for, but when who she's up against, it's easy to root. She's easy to root for. So, yes, Steven the professional. Yes, instead of no women, it's no kid. It's like, what's your peer-reviewed source? So, yes, as Official Midget says, from what you can tell, available on the farms, it's really bad. It's bad. But I need some time to work on amassing things. I was talking to Mides that we may do like a joint. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like in Modern Warfare 1, where it's like Marine Recon, SAS, joint operation. We may have to do that. So, yes, Destiny's girl's name. Well, there's that too. There's that too. Real quick, you guys did say that Jim is alive. Let's see here. Let's see about that. Let's see what happened to Okay, so yeah, so Mr. Medicare did make a statement. We're gonna go over this real quick. And we'll end on this note. Well, Aphex, is any new Kohberger details? You just missed those a little bit. We went over those. Yes, apparently he's having a rough time. So Jim, Mr. Medicare is saying, you guys, this is Mr. Medicare's account that he uses. If you want to see it, use it. This is where you go. He says, due to worsening health, I've stepped back from social media and other distractions, spend time with my family and friends. I hadn't planned on discussing this publicly because I didn't see a need to. That was, of course, until this evening when our family was attacked. So what happened? This past year, a group of people involved in swattings in America, Tor Swats, were caught in the process of being charged. You may have heard of it, Tor Swats. This group has relationships to another group under investigation, 764, which is if you think Tor Swats is bad, these guys are worse. These guys are worse. And it says, this evening, numerous people were contacted stating a mass casualty event had happened and a police response was sent to my house. Due to the ongoing DOJ and FBI prosecutions, I can only assume this is an attempt at witness intimidation related to the case. He says, my health is not great, and my silence led people to believe I had passed away, which leaves me only with a few conclusions to draw, among them being an attempt to try and make a woman, my wife, suffer while her husband was believed dead or injured. So, yeah, that is pretty fucked. My wife. There we go. I got it right. Potawful just interviewed Destiny's son. Okay. I will say this much. Nick Fuentes actually had the best answer for all of this. Much respect to Nick Fuentes on this, where he's like, he told Destiny's kid, like, go get a fucking life, go play, be a kid, come back to the internet when you turn 18. Like, I was like, based. So, Tiny is a pedo confirmed. Well, yeah, we're kind of like, ooh, buddy. So, Official Fidget says, Kinoche. Yes. Oh. So that is kind of where we are, guys. That is where we are. Nick Fuentes knows from experience. He's still mad. No one likes him from high school. Yeah, but he also brought up, he's like, yeah, I kind of did a bunch of retarded shit. I did it so you guys don't have to. Was Nick even 18 when he started doing his shows? No. He was getting big as a 17-year-old. So. What did you think of Fuentes checking the tape of the Destiny tape of Destiny sucking wieners to make sure it wasn't his own wiener? Yeah, yeah, I'm sure he was doing it for research purposes and not for whacking off. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, the gay Mexican catboy Hitler. Yes, I agree. All right, chat. So with that said, we are all done. We got done pretty good here. 2 hours in. I like this. Sometimes we need to do it. And I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. A little yawny on that. I don't know. I was pretty good all day long. So sorry about that. I hope the show overall was pretty good. If you didn't like it, I'm very sorry. But I try to give us some good stuff here. And from here, guys, we are going to head over to potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Join us with the promo code summertime 2025. We'll hang out. We'll see what's going on. We may poke our head in the casino real quick. We got all kinds of stuff we're going to be doing. That we're going to look at. So I hope to see you guys over there. Winston, the ego respecter on Kick, says Sean is such a gamer. Yeah, that's me, all right. Gaming like a boss. Stabby says this show sucked. There weren't enough slurs. Rip King Cobra. Yes. Once you hit 40, you start needing a nap. Yeah, well, that's. Can a catboy play with the streamer's dick? Well, remember, it's the other way around. Destiny sucked off Nick Fuentes. So. Yes, there's also the clip of Destiny saying he got a child to show off his junk. Yeah, but that's, that's just them saying it. I'm pretty sure Sean missed my super chat. You did. Where's your super chat? I'm pretty sure I got to it. If you sent a super chat, I don't see it. Unless it didn't show up here. Hold on. Yeah, Iconoclast. I don't see Oh, I see it. Yeah, no, hold on. I see it now. Amateur Iconoclast for $10. Thank you. While driving home on I-20 over Easter, one of those Indians managed to flip his truck onto its side, blocking the two eastbound lanes. Traffic was backed up 5 miles as I passed westbound. Well, when he turned the wheel, he tried to redeem. He said, Vishnu, redeem. And it did not work. Yes. Nick dumped Catboy Candy for being too based. Oh no. We don't need to start coming up with that headcanon, chat. We don't need to start coming up with that. So all right, chat. With that said, I will see you guys over on Locals here. We're gonna have some fun, and I will see you shortly. And why did I just get an email? Let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, not sure. Let's see here. I don't know. I hate this. It just all bullshit comes in. Anyways, that's a nice shirt. Thank you. Yes, it is my Missouri Battle Flag. I will take a look at your stuff. I will take a look. I know you sent me some things. I'll take a look at that. Wall says that's a nice shirt. Thank you. Everybody thinks it's I wear when I work at the Subaru dealership when I'm selling cars. So, all right, chat. With that said, guys, thank you for everybody being here. Thank you to everybody on Kick. Thank you to all the 200 ghosts on Twitter. I know you guys aren't real, except for like Ron and then Aquila. And then last but not least, thank all of you guys here on YouTube. I do appreciate it. Once again, thank you to everybody. Whether you super chat, whether you just chat, whether you like, whether you subscribe, whether you lurk, whatever it is you guys do, I appreciate all the support very, very much. It's all support in one form or another. I want you guys to make sure you understand that. The past, and once again, thank you guys for the past month and a half. It's been really fun and very interesting. And remember, until next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Now, this weekend, guys, we might watch the Nicholas Katosis. He's the guy that was tried down in Georgia recently. And he took the stand in his own defense. We might watch that. I've heard it was pretty good when he especially gets crossed and he just kind of falls apart. So we might be watching that this weekend. And then, we definitely need to get some model stuff going. So we'll definitely be doing that. So I will see you guys over on Locals. Take care, chat, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And why does it sound so far away? I don't know. So weird. So weird, chat. Good night, chat.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick hated yelled at? Why, yes it was, he even knows he's fat. For all this fun and more, there's one place to go, here on Sean Martin's Potentially Criminal.